Hello, everybody. So in America, we've got the Cherry Blossom Festival starting next week in Washington, D.C. And so I thought it'd be fun to do a cherry blossom wreath, obviously a very loose one. I do want to show you the color that I'm going to be using in my set is called Madder Red. And you can see it looks very dark, and it can be, but I'm just showing you that to just show you how light we're going to make, how light pink it's going to be just by adding water. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do this much like I did my Christmas wreath back in December, I think. But I'm going to use this. I used a candle jar for that one, but I'm going to paint the rim of this little mason jar lid, ring, whatever it is. And make sure you got plenty of paint on there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be okay if you've got gaps in the paint. Let's just see. This isn't sticking super duper well, so it looks like I'm putting a ton of paint on. I'm really not. I'm just trying to make sure it gets on the edge, on the rim here, because it's going inside. Okay, let's see if this works here. And I have to rock it back and forth because my sketchbook is kind of wonky with my paper clip on it. Yay, I like it. Okay. Now with the Christmas one, I did 3 of these kind of offset, but I'm just going to do one for this. And I'm going to work a little bit quickly. I've got some water on my brush. And I'm just going to do some loose kind of cherry blossom. They're just flowers. We're calling them cherry blossoms. But keeping your brush wet so you can just pull from this rim that we've got here. It is drying quickly on this paper. But that's okay because cherry blossoms have lots of different shades of pink. Some of them are even white. So we're just gonna go around here like this. And there's gonna be a couple different layers to this. And it's okay to leave gaps in between too, because we're gonna add some greenery and I don't know, maybe some buds or maybe even some twigs. I'm not sure yet. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry now. And we're going to come back in and work on it some more. All right, this is mostly dry. There's a few wet spots here, but that's all right. So we're going to come in and do just some variation of color in each of the flowers. And you can put them in different spots, which will achieve, a different angle on the flowers. Just play with it and have fun. And we can let those remain wet while we continue on here. And I'm just going to do a few lines with the tip of my brush, just lightly. You can use a different brush. You could use a smaller brush if you're more comfortable with that. It's really up to you. I kind of tend to stay with one brush. Sometimes I do more than that, but if you use the bigger brush, just use the tip and a very light touch. And sometimes I try to do light and it ends up dark, and that's okay too. It'll all work out. It's going to be cute in the end, okay? All right. I'll speed us through this because this is kind of more of a time-consuming part here, that you get the gist. And you can see I'm just kind of going through and darkening up yet some more the center portions here. Again, we're just playing until we like what we see. All right, we're going to let that dry thoroughly. Okay, I was going to do leaves next, but I think I'm going to just put some buds here and there, just little indications of some new growth. Doesn't have to be well thought out. We're just going to kind of put a few in, take a step back, see if we want one in another spot. To be honest, I don't know what a cherry blossom bud looks like, but you know, we're just putting some added interest here. Indications. You know, I'm not going for super realistic. I'm going for somewhat recognizable. How about that? All right, so there's our cherry blossoms and buds. Now, I'm going to remind you, I've only used one color so far, and that is Madder Red from my Paul Rubens set. Also, I try to remember to link my supplies in the description, so generally speaking, you'll find them there if you're interested. But otherwise, just use whatever red or pink you might have. And just the amount of water you add will make it the shade that it is. So like obviously the more water, you're going to get this lighter pink in there and you get the rest. Okay, now I'm going to dry this and then come in and do some leaves. And for the leaves, I'm using a mixture of yellow, green, and tree green. You use whatever green you've got. And these are going to be just, again, very simple leaves. And just kind of put them here and there. And again, take a step back, see if you want to add some more. I love pink and green together. I think they're so pretty. Okay, kind of liking that. I might just put some green, tuck it in some of these spots as well, rather than just having it on the inside and the outside of the wreath. All right. I'm going to let that dry, and then since it will dry a little more lightly, I'm going to darken them up probably a little bit, just because that's my preference right now. Actually, I like how they dried, so I'm leaving them. I like that light green with the darker red and the pink. And now I'm going to bring in my pens. And so starting with my Micron size 8, and I'm going to just go in and do little dots, kind of to indicate, you know, we're going to try to make an indication of the stamens that are in cherry blossoms. And I'm not counting how many dots, I'm just dotting. I'm dotting until I like it. Some in the darker red, some in the pink. Just for interest. Okay. Might even just do some black in the greens too. Outline some, just put lines in some. Okay. And now I want to put some white. I've got my jelly roll, size 10, and we're just going to add white dots as well. Add some contrast and interest and fun for me. I do love adding pen details at the end, whether it's my gel pens or my fine liners. Okay, and now that I've got that, I am going to put some white in some of the petals as well. Especially the darker ones. Can't really see it on the light pink, but this just adds whimsy. You can see I am not thinking. I'm just going in and making lines. Okay. And there we have it. Maybe even add in some in the greens here and there. I'm going to come back with my black pen too and just make lines in between some of these flowers. There we go. I like it. And there it is. And now I am going to put a word in the middle. I'm not sure which word yet. Oh, you could say hello spring. You could say, I think I'm just going to put peace. Joy would be better because it's only 3 words and I can't really mess that up too badly, but let's just do peace. Peace. And I'll go over it because I was being a little bit careful, which doesn't really make sense because it's ink. So that's okay. My brain works certain ways, certain days. It's all good. Peace. And there is our beautiful cherry blossom wreath. I hope that this inspired you to make something on your own or that you just simply enjoyed it. And I also hope that I will see you in the next video. Take good care until then.